Let's go to Cowtown now. Ryan Leslie, thanks for sitting through all that, bud. How are you?
I'm good. I'm in Alberta, where they apparently love you.
You can't even say
that was so.
You can't even say that with a straight face.
Unbelievable. If the video was there, Rod, I could prove to you that they don't. I just love being with you.
We'll talk about that later.
Sure,
Listen,
yeah.
I've got the Calgary Flames as the #1 team in the NHL. Change my mind. I believe it.
You do? Wow, that's interesting that you say
Canadian
that.
team.
#1 Canadian team. Canadian team, sorry.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, they have been busy. And the truth is that they've addressed a couple of things that they needed to. First and foremost, you can say whatever you want, but they had to go out and get a #1 goaltender, didn't they? And they got the goalie that they needed to get. And I'm sure you've talked about it on this show as Jacob Markstrom news broke. But it is one of those things where it is an uncertain time. And certainly, Rod, we all know, anybody who's watched the Flames over the last little while, they have not seen a goaltender since Mika Kiprasov kind of run with it. They've seen 11 goaltenders come through the doors during Brad Treliving's tenure. So I think that's well known by now. We also know that he wanted to address it. We know what a priority it was for him. And he went out and did it. And not only did he go out and get a #1 goalie, he took it away from Vancouver and he prevented it from Edmonton. So that's a big win, especially if you're talking about a Canadian bubble, which may or may not happen. It's likely. If that's the case, you go out, you solidify that. You kind of picked over your rival in Vancouver. You took Chris Tanev, who's a pretty big leader in that room, a well-known warrior on and off the ice, and a real glue guy as well, as long as he stays healthy. And that's a big if, to be certain. But that's a good get as well on the blue line. And so you had some depth pieces like a Josh Levo, who had been talked about in Calgary going back to his time in Toronto. So there's been some interest there for some time. They also took Louis Domingue as well. So 4 players came by way of Vancouver, but they've still got some work to do. Brad Treliving's still working the phones. He has signed a lot of players this offseason. And now we'll see how it all shakes down and whether or not he's done tinkering. We know he's not. He's just never done tinkering. So, yeah, we'll see how it all unfolds. But right now, I would say they are one of the better teams in Canada. And I think, they want to become one of the better teams in the league.
Well, you know what? It would be very hard to criticize what Brad Treliving's done in his time there. And why would we, by the way? He's a former Regina Pat, a member of God's team. But he can't be out on the ice. I'm serious. He can't be out on the ice when they're laying an egg in the playoffs. We saw what happened against Colorado in round 1 2 years ago. We saw what happened against Dallas this year. What exactly happened, Ryan? Because I was watching those games. You were right there. You had a front row seat. What happened in the implosion in that game, and what do you think the teams learned?
Yeah, 11 seconds from being up 3-1 in a series, and then all of a sudden you could kind of feel momentum go, and then they get blown out. And that's all of a sudden you can see it getting away. And talking to these players, they saw it. You couldn't do anything about it. And as you know in sport, that happens. And we could point to a lot of examples of monumental collapses. That was one of the bigger ones that I'd ever seen in person, and certainly one of the bigger ones in most teams' history, because you could see where you were before to where you ended up, and you've got to be sitting there just numb and what happened. So that was the one where it just became a breakdown, and everything that was going for you suddenly left at the wrong time. Rather, Cam Talbot was brilliant.
Well, I was going to say, you know the game. So what did happen? Are you putting it on goaltending? Are you putting on a defensive breakdown, a brain cramp? What do you think happened in that?
I think it was a perfect storm. I think it was a perfect storm. You have a Milan Lucic penalty that really, I think, wasn't a penalty. That was costly, but not on him. Just so much of an example of some bad bounces, Rod. As anybody who knows any sport, that's just what happened. You can point a finger at one thing. It's never about one thing, or very rarely anyhow. You can blame it on a kicker who may miss that last-second field goal, but they shouldn't have been in that position. It's a team game to get you there. We can go round and round and round. In that case, it was a perfect storm, and a lot went wrong. Goaltending all of a sudden froze up. That had been so good for you. You get a costly penalty here or there, which was, some of them were mental mistakes. Some of them might have been officiating, and that was debatable. Whatever it was, no excuses. This team just had at the worst possible time, a monumental collapse. A team that is a very harmonious group, a team that is a talented group, and a team that was getting so much from so many, all of a sudden had the rug pulled out from under them. And to be fair, there was another team on the other side, and Dallas was just getting better, weren't they, guys? As this postseason went on, we saw them get better. And didn't we think that, Rod, before this postseason started, that you're going to see some rust early? You're going to see some rust early, and then, Rod,
good people.
Holy smokes, that was bang on.
Good people find a way to get better, and that's what happened.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah,
no.
Out of nowhere. Thanks. Yeah, thanks a lot. We'll take this round, and we're moving on. Yeah, thanks.
Racket.
Oh,
Racket.
Boy.
Yeah, don't get me started don't get me started with the 46 that are going to Red Deer either. I'm pretty excited. Guys got a little juice. Yeah, guys got some juice.
Speaking of that, by the way, because your favorite tournament is the World Juniors, and I'm not even going to try a Lou impersonation. You were in the bubble in Edmonton. They're saying it's going to happen for World Juniors. Do you believe that they're going to pull it off? Because the template's there from the NHL.
Yeah. No reason to think not, even though, you just play the odds that something's got to happen, right? You play those odds and you say no. But if they stick to what the NHL did, I don't know how you can to that degree, to be totally fair. But, hey, it's Red Deer. You're locked in. And I hope it goes off because, after listening to, the conversation you guys were having prior to me joining you, it's fascinating, and we don't need to go down that road now. But let's just hope for some optimism, and let's just hope that it goes that way because, these kids want to wear that sweater. I can tell you that much.
People writing in, dying. Sounds just like him. Best Lou ever. From Roger in Calgary, LMAO, spot on, Lou. I don't know who all these people are. Carlos in Indianapolis. That impersonation will be the highlight of this interview. It's all downhill from here, Ryan. Where else do we go? Where else do we go from that? You blew my mind.
I lost you.
You lost me? Can you hear me now? Okay, Jordan.
Now I got you.
Now he's got us. He had to click a button or something. Somebody wrote in and said that impression will be the highlight of this interview. So it's all downhill from here, Ryan. What else do you have for a Calgary sports report today?
Wow. Well, I'm going to join you. I'm going to do a parent-teacher interview after this. I'm going to chat with Dan Murphy a little bit later about the Flames raiding the Canucks. That'll be tonight. I'm actually looking at, making a pitch of a little podcast of our own. A couple of former players and I are getting together to bat around a few ideas. So we'll see where that goes. Of course, we'll be stealing all of your ideas. So that'll be fun. And then we just kind of wait to see what the Flames do. They've been busy, but maybe it's a little bit of quiet time right now. It's such a weird time. Here we are approaching October. And of course, I'm looking at getting a puppy. So there's everything with a little bow on it.
Very cute dog, by the way, that you had in your Instagram. Follow him on Instagram. What's your Instagram handle?
Ryan.Leslie1. That's Ryan.Leslie1. And a fun fact about the puppy, he's coming from Saskatchewan.
So he's tough, smart, and cute. I could...
good puppies.
Yeah. He and I were driving from Edmonton to Calgary, and he's an Owen Sound, Ontario guy. He's an Easterner, right? And he goes, I haven't quite figured out Western Canada yet. Like, for instance, why would somebody live there? And he pointed to a farm like a mile off the road, like right in the middle of nowhere. Why would somebody do that? Have you figured out Western Canada yet and how we like our space? Les, have you figured that out?
I've lived here since 1996. I'm getting a handle on it, yeah. We've got some history, pal. In fact, I remember, you and I go so far back, I remember when your hair was thick.
No kidding. And not paid for. Yeah, believe me.
Yeah. But, are you losing a few feathers in there or what?
You should talk. Do you have any mirrors in your house? You're really fitting in with Alberta by carving me. Like, what is the deal out there, by the way?
Where they hate you.
Yeah, what? Why?
Why do they hate you? I think we talk about this every show. It's you. It's nothing else. It's just you.
He would text me after my appearances on Fan 960 and say, "You're really endearing yourself to the people out here," as I just dropped a bomb on the whole city. Yeah.
Oh, that is great.
They know it's not personal, right?
Oh, I'm sure. Well, maybe not. I don't know. You love pushing the envelope and pushing buttons, so why not? I think it's beautiful.
Well, it's not going away. There are people that would like me and Bo Levi to bury the hatchet, and I'm like, it's not good for business.
Is that still going?
Yeah, it is absolutely going. It is absolutely going, yeah. But anyways, Ryan, we'll let you go. I appreciate the chuckles as always. I needed that. It's been a while, my friend. Enjoy the dog and keep in touch.
Listen, you people over there are good people. Remember that.
Very good. Thanks, Ryan.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.